Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, did you know there's just 276 days until Christmas 2021? And today we're going to talk a little bit about the George Lucas sequel trilogy that he was supposedly working on. And I was listening this morning to the replay of Nerd Theory from last night, which was effectively a Rule of Two broadcast, where Mark Hernandez and Star Wars Theory were talking about the potential possibility of having George Lucas's treatment for his episode 7 that he apparently already had the story outline done, the story primarily written, and then the possibility of seeing that storyline put into some form of release. Whether that's just the scripts that then people could animate or make comics of or whatever, similar to what we had for the episode 9 version, right? So there's speculation. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit this morning because there's a couple of ways to look at it. And I think it's going to tie in really well to what we hear going on today, this week, last week, about the whole Snyderverse situation. So here we go. Good morning, Drew's Reviews. Oh, good to see you today as well. Thank you so much. Look forward. Almost didn't do a stream today. I'm going to save this for Thursday with our discussion with the Magic Maker, but wanted to come in and just kind of chat with you all because there's another new segment we're going to start adding to the show. We're going to do on a regular basis as it is appropriate, and we'll talk about that here in a moment as well. We'll let some more folks come and join us. Dale, hello. Welcome, Clone Wars fan. Oh, great to see you again. Thanks for coming. Hey, and the name I can't say, but Lopez. Oh, here we go. 2 days in a row. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for your support and your involvement in the Den of Nerds community. I saw you in the live stream this morning over at the Den of Nerds live stream with Josh. So it's good to see you guys. Very well. So let's talk a little bit about this, and then we'll talk about the new segment that we're going to add to our show coming up. And for the new segment, if you know anybody or if you're interested in creating a short intro clip, once we talk about it, a short intro, something 3 to 5 seconds that would introduce the new segment, I would be happy to include it as part of the show. So let me know. So here we go. The George Lucas sequels. So I do believe that there was a story outline, a story generated for episode 7. We see evidence of that, and some of the discussion started around that, where it was meant to be a bit like, hey, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat today. Yesterday, I fell way behind. So the where it was a bit of an apocalypse now kind of thing with Luke off on an island as a hermit, curmudgeon. He had pretty much given up on the whole Jedi thing, and then there were folks out looking for him, and that was kind of adapted into what we got in episode 7 and 8. And it involved many of the same sort of storylines, same sort of story points. Gray, hello. Had to restart your phone and everything. No, you haven't missed anything yet. I was just introducing it. Had to mute him because he's frustrated about Warner Brothers. Yeah, I want to tie that in just a little bit because I think there's some reasoning. So again, Nerd Theory last night, which was Rule of Two with Mark Hernandez and Star Wars Theory, they were saying, why can't fans just kind of get along a little bit? When this ties into what we were talking about yesterday, Why can't they kind of coalesce, unite, similar as the fans did for releasing the Snyder Cut, just to get this George Lucas episode 7, or potentially his outlines for 8 and 9 for his sequel trilogy? Why can't we coalesce as a community and kind of push Lucasfilm to do the same? That Disney would be well advised to make the profits that they can by giving that to fans. So XR Coon, hello. Yeah, so it is interesting. Then but here's my fear, and here's why I think that it goes. Why the Snyderverse hasn't been picked up, and the whole rant this morning that Josh had, I think ties into the whole picture. These studios, be it Disney, Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, or you name it, when they start to entertain these, the way that our culture works today, and Theory mentioned this last night, we use our fandom as weapons against one another. So the folks who are, anti-Snyderverse, they started writing down reviews on it the moment it came out, even before. And the pro-Snyderverse folks were writing pro reviews of it, but even before. It's released the Lucas trilogy, not the Lucas cut, the Lucas trilogy. It's a different story, I believe, there, XR Coon. No. So, yeah, I think they're trying to get that kind of movement started within the Star Wars fandom. And here's my concern, is that it would be used as a club, right? So for the folks that would be able to get that, and we've already seen it in Star Wars, saying, hey, we would have been better off with the other episode 9 than the episode 9 we got. Then if Lucas scripts got out, if his story got out, I believe it will be used among the sequel detractors. I'll put it that way. The sequel detractors as a club to say this is what real Star Wars is, and that's not real Star Wars, which is again inflammatory talk, which only further divides. It would be one thing, and I kind of feel this way about the Snyderverse and the Snyder Cut. It's one thing if you can take something, enjoy it for what it is, embrace it for what it is, and kind of run with it. Just say, wow, that was great. And I watched the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I enjoyed it. Am I frustrated that we're not going to get more Snyderverse? Well, sure. But if, at the same time, the expectation was set way up front that this was a one-time thing. And back when people were saying, well, but wait, if Warner Brothers makes money on this, if Warner Brothers makes money, they'll surely continue, right? And that's just not what happened. To have that expectation, I think, is what has led somewhat to the frustration, where people are really, really mad now that they've seen the Snyderverse, the Snyder Cut. They want more of it, and they know that the studio is not going to give it. So now they're upset. And now they're really, really fuming at the studio today. Josh spent his entire morning stream today. He even spent some good time yesterday kind of going on about the Warner Brothers executives who can't see the money sitting on the table that they're just walking away from. And I think the same sort of frustration, same sort of aggravation would come if we were to get any kind of Lucas treatment for his version of the sequels released in any kind of form, whether that's a script or comic or animated. They talked a little bit about last night, perhaps doing it animated, because Carrie Fisher isn't around to be able to bring Princess Leia to life, and that it might be more honoring to her to have that as an animated series with voice actors than to recast Carrie and the original trio. So I think that's, hey, Abby, oh, good to see you. I saw you over at Dinner Nerds this morning. I really appreciate the support everybody's in this community is giving to one another. Thanks so much. Drew, I think that George Lucas should take this opportunity to create a whole new franchise. Oh, here's the issue, Drew, and I appreciate the sentiment, but he's just not at the age where he wants to start anything like that. In fact, he's not even at the age where he would want to film, produce, direct his own sequel trilogy or a trilogy of movies telling a story. He doesn't have the desire to do that. So I don't think we would, in any form, even if George was given carte blanche control to do whatever he wants, and given all of the resources, funding that Lucasfilm has to bear, I don't think he would create them. Only because he's at an age where he's not interested in doing that. However, that's not to say that he couldn't be talked into working with someone to get his story outlines developed, and then turn it over to someone to make screenplay, film, and direct, and move on with some guidance and supervision along the way. But I don't think we would see him, actively sitting in a director's chair to do anything like that. So, Lopez. But the thing for me is it was amazing compared with the rest they've done. Yeah. The Snyder Cut could have been better at 2 or 3 hours. You expect if the Snyder, what we got in the Snyder Cut Justice League were actually released as a movie, they would have gone back and cut it, reduced it, and forced it down into more of a 3-hour time frame. Right? Absolutely. Hey, Callisto's here as well. Hello there. Good to see you. Appreciate your support as always. Let's see. For rotten eggs, look good compared. Doesn't mean look good. That's DC. Yeah. But what if somehow a movement reinvigorated him? It might reinvigorate him, but again, he's pushing 80, and I think he's certainly got his health is good enough, but he splits his time in Chicago. He actually has a home in Chicago, and his wife lives there, and he splits his time between there and LA and going back and forth for different projects. And his kids live in Chicago. So unless he wants to uproot them and move them to LA for a few years, and again, George thinks of creating movies in multi-year kind of things, not in like a short time frame, which is one of the things Disney did in pushing Lucasfilm to release the sequels on the time frame they did. I don't think George would adhere to any kind of time frame like that. You'd be pushing more like 10 years for all 3 movies, and say you had 3 years between, right? So release, so maybe 6 years would be the shortest you would get, probably closer to 4 or 5 years, and you're going to end up at a good 10 years. So I don't know that we could get him to do that. Yeah, right. He's not going to unretire. Right. So even at Star Wars Only, and I know that they did their Tatooine show this week, and they talked about George coming back into directing or being the president of Lucasfilm in some capacity, and because there's chatter about Kathleen Kennedy retiring or stepping down from Lucasfilm to go run a different studio, perhaps even being elevated to president of films in all of Disney. So she would take a promotion in that effect, be over Disney Studios, perhaps over Lucasfilm, Marvel, the whole kit and caboodle. That's a possibility. And then you would need a new president of Lucasfilm, and perhaps bring George in as that interim president while they bring somebody else up under his tutelage. But that would involve him unretiring to a degree as well. And I don't think that's going to happen. The most you get is sort of his involvement with The Mandalorian, where he's on set. He's kind of, milling about. He's given his feedback, and he's certainly available to Dave Filoni. Dave has talked about how he stays in contact with George on a somewhat regular basis, and he's bouncing ideas off of him and talking with him even today. So I could see George being involved more on an official capacity as a advisor, or I mentioned before, perhaps like a co-president. But I don't see him coming out of retirement to be an active president. Certainly not a director or producer of a film or a trilogy of films. Yeah, let's see. What else? So, Callisto, have to use your phone. Oh no. Oh, they're switching out. They're switching out meters at your house. I got it. The Snyder cut would release the Lucas cut. Well, again, I worry about the fandom not being able to handle it. Right? That's really my concern, is the fandom using this as a divide. We're already divided as a fandom. We already are taking shots at one another. It happens all the time. I'm beginning to see some understanding in other places where people are allowing for other opinions. Even Theory talks about, hey, if you love the sequel trilogy, good on you. But there's still a lot of things that are inflammatory, thrown back and forth towards each other, and name calling, labeling, and all of that is still a big problem. And as that happens, then it cements a divide. And what I could see happening is if we got any of Lucas's stuff released again in any kind of format, be that a script or a story outline, anything, we would see them people use that to label the each other as, hey, I am of this camp, or I'm of that camp, and if you don't like this, then you don't like Star Wars, or if you are this, then you're a man baby, or you're a SJW, or you're alt-right, or you're not a Star Wars fan, or all those kind of inflammatory insults that are thrown back and forth, I think would only escalate. Not only that, but we would see further frustration with Lucasfilm as a whole among the fandom, just as we're seeing today with Warner Brothers, where people are just losing their minds over Warner Brothers not moving on with the Snyderverse. And I think you'd see the same with the Lucas thing. If they were to release that script, let's say they release it in script format, we would see Star Wars fans just losing their minds, and again, just calling out Kathleen Kennedy, other executives, for not making them into movies. And you would just get hate after hate after hate aimed at them for not making those into movies or into a series, or not cashing in on it. The exact same thing that's going on right now, where they're talking about Warner Brothers, and I love it. Like, why does Warner Brothers hate making money? Right? You would get the same thing with Lucasfilm if those scripts make their way out. You would get why does Lucasfilm, or why does Disney hate making money, and why do they hate the fans? Why these people don't understand Star Wars, and it would just keep going, right? I don't believe as fans, as a fandom, we're mature enough to be able to handle it. That's my point. Oh yeah. I had a fun watching 4 hours. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Good point, right? I think a lot of people did. And so that's the other side of the coin, is say, could we just do that, right? As fans, can we just say, wow, I loved getting able to watch that, right? Being able to watch it and enjoy it, and live with just that, and say, wow, thank you, studio, for listening to us and allowing us to see this content. Thank you. No, I mean, there are some people that are, but on the other side, there's so many people who are, angry. Really angry. And Josh Lucas is one of them, right? George doing his museum. Yeah, he's doing his museum. He's getting ready to sell that, I think. So I think he's almost got it built and furnished. Everything's done. And then he's going to sell it over to recoup the money that he put in. And then let it be run by museum caretakers, that kind of stuff. The city, um, the state, whatever it might be. Yeah, you could easily cut a lot of it. Yeah, I think they could have got it down to 3 hours for a for a theatrical release. Absolutely. Speeding up the slow mo. I see a lot of complaints about the slow mo. There's a lot of slow mo in it, but it's hey, that's a Snyder thing, and he puts those in there. Drew, I would love for Star Wars to do an anthology series where they can keep the continuity of films, still standalone stories. Yeah, I would love to see that as well. And I saw I saw that on KRT, right? Kessel Run last night. They brought up bringing an anthology, and it was absolutely hilarious. He's like, well, yeah, let's introduce characters and stories that we absolutely love and then never revisit them again. That was great. It was great. You guys, I'm sure most of you watch Kessel Run as well. Aquaman had too many intros. I don't know. I like, in the song was playing. I don't know. Well, the song. Okay, so I get what you're saying. The song when Bruce went up and he recruited Aquaman, tried to recruit Aquaman, and they had that song. Right. There's plenty of places where that could have been trimmed down to theatrical release. I get your point, XRQ. Yeah. If George wanted to ride in on his horse bare chest. Aggressively relaxing. I don't know how many people want to see that. George Lucas bare chested at 80 years old riding in on a horse. That might not be the visual you want. You mean figuratively, but I can't help myself. That's right. Fake fans, right? All of that. Yeah, it's already happening with Amanda. The real versus Disney Star Wars. Exactly right. We already have that in Star Wars where they're saying, hey, real fans understand the lore and they understand how the new Star Wars breaks the lore. And if you enjoy the new Star Wars, that's great, but you're not a real Star Wars fan because you couldn't like those and understand the lore. Because they break the lore so bad. I've had those accusations thrown at me, right? People tell Santa, oh, you're not a real Star Wars fan because if you understood the lore, you would understand those are bad movies. So, Star Wars Santa's not a Star Wars fan. Even though I've read about pushing 50 of the novels at this point and been around Star Wars since the inception back in 77. It's been part of my life forever. Look, different people latch onto different parts of Star Wars. And what I have learned and what I think fans as a whole need to embrace more is that Star Wars is personal for everyone. And that's the same way it is with many fandoms and franchises. Those franchises are personal. They address people at certain eras of their life, certain points of their life. Maybe it was when they were watching it with their parent, or maybe they watched it at a time where they were going through some bullying or some difficult times financially, or whatever the case might be. And Star Wars gave them that refuge. And there were things in the story that latched to them, that made it personal to them. And not everybody views Star Wars, or any franchise for that matter, through the same lens. And so if you enjoyed the lore and the video games and the extended universe, and that connected to you, and you were able to escape into that, and that lens is what brought you in and built your fandom. And then you see the sequels don't conform to that lens that you embrace and you love and you hold on to so dearly. Then I can absolutely understand why that feels abrasive to you. For whether it's Luke or whether it's Rey, how the Force or the Holdo maneuver, or you name it, right? I'm familiar with all the arguments. I've been around the communities. I know. So look, I get it, but we don't have enough. I don't think we have enough maturity to say, well, yeah, your lens gives you this view and your love for Star Wars, and I get that doesn't conform, but what we would get is Lucas's treatments, and then people would embrace it and then use that as a club to hammer somebody else and tell them they're not a fan, right? Yeah, Disney Star Wars, people call it real Star Wars because it feels connected. Right. Right. Yeah, it's exactly it. Hawks holocrons. Here's hoping scripts leak. Right. Well, let's see. The other interesting part of that is if it is very much the way that some of the stories come, that Luke was resigned. He dejected. He was effectively the last Jedi, Luke, right? Or what do people say? He wasn't Luke Skywalker. He was. Oh, I've seen Luke with the multiple U's, but that's Jake, right? Jake Skywalker. What if you get Jake Skywalker in George Lucas's Episode 7? How's that going to come off, right? But did they give it credit because it's George Lucas? And again, what you end up with anything like this is how it's actually executed. And so people say, well, yeah, that's still a dejected Luke, but that Luke is better than the Last Jedi Luke because George Lucas wrote it and he put this other context around it. It makes better sense. And again, you end up with a feud, right? Even though you end up with a very similar kind of situation, which I believe they tried to incorporate into the sequels. In Jake Skywalker. Santa hates that, but I'm just using it because I think most of you understand what I'm talking about. If they would say, well, George would have handled it better, he would have put it in context. Well, then that becomes again that lightning rod of division. There's a tiny thing called headcanon, people. Need to learn that. Yes. Clone Wars 3 is canon, and canon stops at Mandoverse. Yeah, Phil, hello again. Good to see you again here. Thanks for your support. Great to have you. Let's see. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. That's good. That's good. And again, I've fallen way behind. Let me see if I can get caught up in the comments. Everyone knows real Star Wars Timelines, New Hope, Holiday Special, and ended with the Ewoks. And so we're going to be able to get the actual, the real Star Wars timeline in April because those Ewok movies come out, and when we can all embrace canon as it was intended to be. XR aggressively relaxing. That was fantastic. That's good stuff. Actually, only the holiday special. You guys are great. I was hyped for Justice League. At the end of the day, it felt like it was a reboot video game. Looked better, got extra love. I'm not sure I got a whole lot new for my money. I thought the context. I actually it made Flash's character way better, and it made Cyborg super relevant. The best version of Cyborg I've seen, right? I go back to even the not Suicide Squad. What is that on HBO Max now? That's the sort of the outcast. He's in there. It's not as good there. It's not as good in the other instances I've seen him on TV. The Zack Snyder Cyborg was the best Cyborg I've seen on screen, period. Empire Strikes Out nearly killed the franchise. That's why Kurtzman was fired. Well, 80s YouTuber. Well, you know what? The 80s. Let's put YouTube and social media in context where it is today. Empire Strikes Back with the murder teddy bears would have been absolute fire. All right, people hated the Ewoks. I don't know if I can like. People really hated Jar Jar Binks. Right? People hated the Ewoks. I can't even say like hated because they knew the original intent was for those to be Chewy. They're intended. I just got the North Pole brain freeze again. Now I've got Ewoks on my head. It'll come to me. You guys probably have already said it. But they were supposed to be. It was supposed to happen like on Kashyyyk, right? Then they they decided, well, we can't do that, and they just downsized them into miniatures and made them into Ewoks, versus having it on Kashyyyk with all of those technologically advanced species. Right, Phil, just like the sequel, but I count the Star Wars. Oh, thank you so much, Phil. I appreciate it. That fans can come in different calibers. Wow, 50 novels. Any that you've read twice or more? Callisto. Yes, I have read the High Republic novels twice each. I read the first one 3 times, and I am finishing Into the Dark the second time through. We're going to do a review on it. Other ones that I've listened to multiple times, I've listened to the sequel trilogy stories at least twice each. The Force Awakens I've listened to on audiobook at least 3 times, I'm sure of. And there's a couple others I want to go purchase on Kindle next and read them in digital format, because for me to read it kind of sinks in more than listening to it. Listening to it is a great way, because those audiobooks are great. They're really well acted. The sound quality, the acting, the voices, everything is really good. Yeah. What George said, the universal philosophies in the original. That's why they are relevant. You're exactly right, Lopez. That's George's were timeless. And in that interview he did in October, he talked about how he was asked the question about social justice themes in new Star Wars movies, and he was saying that those themes can be found to some degree in even his original. But one of the problems we have today is people want it spelled out very directly. And let's take, for example, there's the LGBTQ plus community. They are clamoring really, really hard to get characters featured in entertainment venues, Star Wars being amongst them. While we do have a good presence of LGBTQ plus type characters throughout Star Wars novels, especially more of the recent ones, we haven't seen a hero who is, say, bisexual or transgender, and they really want to see a lead who is, say, a transgender character. My issue with all of that is identity politics, like in your face identity politics, ends up being divisive, where if you can make it a natural outflow of the story, then it can be great and nobody cares, right? Nobody cares. But sexuality, gender identity has never been a really primary thing. And you may push back and say, well, Santa, wait, hold on. There was that love triangle between Luke and Han and Leia, where they were fighting for the affection of Leia, and she laid that kiss down on her brother, and most people, if you put it in today's shipping terms, right, they would, oh boy, they would have been in for the incestuous family relationship. There were a lot of people who wanted to see Luke and Leia, that relationship continue until they learned that she was his sister. But so there has been love stories involved. So why couldn't you have a love story that's between, say, somebody who, LGBTQ plus? Well, sure, absolutely, you could. It's not a problem. That as long as the story is good, the characters are well developed. I think that's a secondary thing. For me, that's not a primary. And a lot of people push for that as the primary, and they want it really, really kind of focused on, because they've got another agenda in mind, and they're trying to push for more social acceptance and better treatment of people. I get it, but I don't like when gender politics or any of the social politics leads. Right? There's a difference between having it as included as part of and having it lead. And to me, when it leads, and it really does, say Batwoman, for example, they really push hard to lead with that, and the story itself suffers. Yeah. Uh, I've read 0 times more books than you. It's good. The Kenobi book's my favorite Star Wars book, even though it's considered legends now. Oh, Phil, my favorite, my absolute favorite, and I highly encourage especially fans of the prequel trilogy, which seems to be a lot now, is Master and Apprentice. Please do yourself a favor and check that out from the library. Listen to it. Maybe look for it on sale. Spend $10 to buy it. Master and Apprentice, fantastic book. It's still part of canon. It's Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. It is a fantastic story. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, could go on and on about Master and Apprentice and how it really shows how Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon Obi-Wan was really frustrated. Qui-Gon wouldn't train him in ways that Obi-Wan saw many of his peers being trained. He's like, well, they're learning advanced techniques, and here I am studying the same stuff over and over again. And Qui-Gon kept saying, pushing back. And Obi-Wan kept saying things like, my master isn't listening to me, and wishing he had a different master, and really struggling with having Qui-Gon Jinn as his master. And then you see sort of the same relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and you begin to understand why Obi-Wan trained Anakin the way he did, and Anakin's pushing back, right? He's frustrated with Obi-Wan. Oh, my master doesn't understand me, and all that drama that that Anakin kind of put out there for Padme, and Wookiees. Wookiees just came to my brain, but anyway, Anakin put out there for Padme. And Padme's like, oh, I think you're just, being overly dramatic, but it kind of pushes that. And so, Master and Apprentice, read it. Everyone, do yourselves a favor. Read Master and Apprentice. It's really good. Right, it's still Disney. That's right. I understand what you're talking about, Lopez. I get it. Boo, Lucas would purposely write in other stuff. Luke, right? Cues. Yeah, Doom Patrol. That's the word that's the show I was thinking of. Doom Patrol. Yeah, Doom Patrol, Cyborg in it, just not nearly as well. Jason, welcome. Thanks for coming. I saw you here yesterday. I could never support HBO Max. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I get why. I'm all for new George Lucas Star Wars. I'm a Chillmonger. Chillmonger, again, thanks for being here. Oh, my goodness, I'm honored. Thanks. I'm for it if it isn't divisive. I'm just not confident that the fandom is mature enough to handle it. You can't handle it. Right? You guys got it earlier. Wookiees, you guys got it. Current canon is a dream come true. Everything's connected. All the stuff I read is universe legend. Having my cake and eating it too. Aggressively relaxing. That is a really good way to look at things because, look, if you don't like something, nobody says you have to. I don't like the prequels, and you can't make me. How about that? But I've accepted they are for what they are, and I look for the parts that I can enjoy, and I watch them just because I love Star Wars, and it's good time to spend. And I've shared this. My youngest daughter thinks they're better than the original trilogy, and if it means I can sit down and enjoy watching some Star Wars with my daughter, I'd be happy to rewatch the prequels. Right? I'm happy to do it. They were originally supposed to be Wookiees, but I still enjoyed them. Boy, people hated them. I didn't care for them, but I didn't get like exercise super mad. But if you had today's social media the way you did then, can you imagine the number of stories about the Ewoks versus the Wookiees, and how people would have been so upset over George Lucas putting Ewoks in instead of Wookiees? Oh my goodness. HBO Max is the best. Jason, HBO Max is okay. I have been surprised at how good that the Peacock Network. Oh my goodness, what a stupid name! But they've got some great content, and I just checked out Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is worthless. There's so little on there. They talk about all this great stuff they have, and so I was like, well, okay, I'll give it a free try. they've got a long way to go, even to catch up with Peacock. HBO Max is pretty good though. It's immoral and nasty. There's certainly plenty of that as well. XR I get that. I get the point. Look, as a kid, I loved the Ewoks. The Ewoks movies were lame. Oh, we get to look forward to those coming in just a week. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Still haven't seen them. We're fixing to get to see them, XR. We'll do some watch-alongs as well. Bob, sorry I'm late. Bob's your uncle. He's here. I didn't subscribe to that, right? Hey, your nephew is here. Right? XR Coons, your nephew. We're all your nephew, Bob, because Bob's your uncle. That's that's great. Yeah. There's a lot. XR Coons already addressed it. I'm not going to reread it here. You can see what he put. There's plenty of that kind of stuff. In Showtime can be classified as perhaps even worse. Hey, did you guys find they said it? The Beast Boy and Raven from Teen Titans are a couple now. Oh, the Teen Titans, they were kind of headed that way, weren't they? And by the way, the live action Teen Titans, just Titans, that you can see on HBO Max, it was on the DC Universe stuff. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Everyone should read Shadows of the Empire. Yes, Drew, I agree. Yeah, right. Right. You guys are on it. The chat here is great. The mature content that's out there is good. Master Apprentice is so good. XR Coon's a troll. Yeah, XR Coon's fantastic. Wu-Tang Wells, hey, good to see you here. Hopefully you're still hanging around now. I've got something else I want to talk about. Aggressively. I'm reading the second Padme book, and we get Emperor's inner monologue. Oh, yeah. Pout's thoughts are hilarious. At one point, in laments calling Maul. It's good. Let's see. I'm willing to bet that if George Lucas was able to make a sequel trilogy, it'd be considered as Legends. Perhaps, especially since they made episode 7 and 8, and they drew in a lot of the concepts from, at least from what I understand of his episode 7, it could be that way. XR Coon, I think Jason's just having fun. At least I hope he is. I hope he's just having fun calling you a troll in the same way that I put you on the naughty list, right? I don't think it's actually calling you a troll kind of troll. Great. I love Paramount Plus. You do? Well, there's a lot of good Star Trek. Right? If you like Star Trek, Paramount Plus is a must. They have all the Star Treks. And I suspect as they get their licensing back, they'll add more. But right now, it's sort of a one-note pony, in my opinion. I just don't see a lot of other stuff. So much Star Trek on Paramount Plus. Exactly. Okay, good. You're here. So Ray Fisher has a Twitch channel where he communicates with his fans. Yeah, Warner Brothers was bad. Check out Titans. It's really good. I agree. Hey, so I want to tell you guys about a new segment we're going to start adding to the show, and it's going to be. I kind of take the influence not only from Star Wars, but also the North Pole, the North Pole experience. We're going to call it Buckets of Coal. Like there's buckets of blood. The new character in the High Republic. We're going to give out buckets of coal, and the buckets of coal is going to be involved around fake or false information that's been spread around the Star Wars community. And we will have a rating system on the buckets of coal, ranging from 1 bucket of coal, meaning it's a little bit of a misunderstanding, something minor, to 5 buckets of coal, completely made up nonsense that has no truth or veracity. We'll have awards that we will give out as information comes out and begins to spread across the Star Wars community. Things like Pedro Pascal is leaving Star Wars, or things like I don't know what else. There's a George Lucas cut of Tross, of Rise of Skywalker, or there, many other kind of rumors that have come out over time, and we will award them buckets of coal. And we'll do it just like the buckets of blood, right? Buckets of coal. And we'll what I'm looking for, hopefully from some of you, right? Buckets of blood. Buckets of blood is a character in the High Republic. He's a big, strong guy, and he's a character. So yeah, buckets of blood. I call all the coal. XR Coon, you. You definitely have a market on the coal. How are my grandchildren? As I get older, time seems to fly by faster. I wonder how much longer the theater format will be relevant. You're exactly right, Drew's Reviews. I wonder how long the theater will be relevant as well. And all of us who have enjoyed it will be able to talk like really old timers. I remember back when we used to go to these places called the theater, and we would sit together and we would buy really expensive popcorn, and it would cost just as much for your refreshments as watching the movie. And you would sit together in a big dark room together and watch a movie at the same time. You had to be really quiet. You couldn't even look at your phones. And the younger people will be like, "Oh, that sounds terrible." Or I think that's coming. I think it's coming. Yeah. How are you going to give out coal when I've got a coal shortage? I know, Wu-Tang Wells. You're going to have to watch your inventory, because we'll be sneaking it out the back as you're going to have to keep a constant count on your coal, because we'll be stealing from your inventory. Right. A single shred of coal doesn't go where we need several. Right. Joking. I get it. You better not take from my pile. Oh, we're going to take from your pile. It's happening. Right. Pedro Pascal has his own cut of Skywalker. Bob, at this point, there's that's probably out there somewhere. So I look forward to buckets of coal. Oh, we have one we're going to share today, just for an example. But what I need is a good intro to it, right? I need a 3 to 5 second intro for buckets of coal, and that we can play just ahead of the segment. So when there's buckets of coal to be given out, just a short animated clip for buckets of coal, sort of to intro the segment and kind of make it stand out. So if I can get any of you guys to create something for me like that, again, really short, 3 to 5 seconds. It just introduces buckets of coal and a little bit of a Christmas theme. Then that would be wonderful. We need a Chillmonger cut. Oh, Mark Hamilton, welcome. Good to have you here. So just introducing the new segment, statewide shortages of coal. That's right, because all of the misinformation going around the Star Wars community is going. This is capitalism. Ain't no communism here. Oh, we're just stealing. It's not sharing, is it? It's theft. So every time we give out buckets of coal, you can decry being robbed, right? Well, where's the justice for XR Coon? Stealing all his coal, right? It'll be great. The Santa cut, the Kathleen Kennedy, So we have a buckets of coal award to give today, and it goes to the folks who have been spreading that there is a rift between Jon Favreau and Lucasfilm, that Jon Favreau is trying to wrest control of the Mandalorian and the Mandoverse away from Lucasfilm and the influence that they want to have. So there has been this has been going around now for a little over a week, and it's beginning to get a little bit of traction here and there. And so yesterday, Mark Hamilton and I spent some good time and a little bit of funds and resources to get answers. So we tracked down the rumor. A lot of it is being spread by the typical sources. So like we got this covered, which is a big a red flag to begin with. And it took a long time for us to kind of get to the root of it. We went back. Mark went to Kessel Run, folks, and he sponsored a super chat yesterday and asked, "Hey, is there any truth to the Favreau wanting control? And were you guys the source of that?" And they said, "We are not the source. We did not say anything of the like." So that's one fact check source that we did. The other was that it was coming from Daniel Rickman. You can find the source actually ties back to Daniel Rickman, and so I paid to become a member of his Discord community, and it's been some time. So I plan to stay there, and I'm at a premier level. So I kind of upped the ante to get full rights to it, and went into Daniel Rickman's server and searched for him being the source of this. Favreau is trying to get control of the Mandalorian away from Lucasfilm. There's some sort of rift there, some arm wrestling going on, and straight from the horse's mouth. KRT never said he's unhappy about interference, right? So that's that. Yeah, they said it on the air. We never did this. Right? We got this covered. Works with Mike Zero. That's right, Jason. Mike Zero is a source of his own. He can create a whole week's worth of content based on his own, and we got this covered. Puts it out. That gives him another whole week of content, and he'll just start adding those things together. So Daniel Rickman's server, I traced it back. Daniel Rickman himself, the best I could tell, just being inside his server and looking, never directly said this claim either. So it does come from somebody within his server. I did find that, and there's terms that say, hey, you can't say certain things, right? It says, I don't trust if a third party says Rickman said something. I don't believe it. Only if he says it himself. That's right, XR Coon. So we went in and said, I looked, did he say it himself? I didn't see that. Sheev the Wise, hello, another great Den of Nerds community member. Thanks for joining. He did not, best I can tell, he did not say that himself. It's coming some folks within his community. So the Buckets of Coal Award, where does this fall? And Mark Hamilton and I have different views, but it's my channel, Mark. And so I'm gonna take this one, and I'll take Mark's advice on the next one. Yeah, we got this covered. It's great. We're going to award 4 buckets of coal to the rumor that Jon Favreau is wrestling control of the Mandalorian away from Lucasfilm, or trying to get them to not be influencing, right? That Lucasfilm is somehow trying to steer him away from his vision. So we're going to give that 4 buckets of coal, meaning there's no truth to this. There's no truth to the rumor. 5 buckets means it's completely made up and it has no source. 4 buckets says no truth, and perhaps it had a source. Maybe it's being misquoted, but so this is a full 4 bucket of coal rumor. We're dispelling it. 5 buckets that KRT. Yeah. So I'm fine with people misquoting, say, hey, I think KRT said it, but actually Daniel Rickman said, okay, so you got that part wrong. But there is at least a kernel of truth in the rumor has a source, right? The source is KRT, not it's Rickman, right? The source is Rickman's server. And so it doesn't even come from Rickman himself, nor does it come from KRT, Kessel Run Transmissions. It comes from somebody within Rickman's server who shared it as a rumor. So it's not even verified. So at this point, it's 4 buckets of coal. to that rumor, and it's our first award. So if you guys would love to contribute to the show, you have the talents and ability, the time, resources to create a short intro to Buckets of Coal, I would be glad to feature, credit you for it, and we will use it on the show. Just keeping in mind that it's Christmas themed and it has to do with that, right? Rumor busted. That's exactly it, Wu-Tang. Well, rumor busted. That's exactly right. So here we go. Let's go back. If we got this covered, or Sutton says something, I believe the opposite. Yeah, that's right. A couple other places was Pirates and Princesses. I mentioned them yesterday. It's a site that comes straight. They use Doomcock frequently as their source. They're completely unreliable. So Pirates and Princesses was reporting it, and we got this covered reporting it. You can't find hardly anywhere. Certainly none of the trades are reporting it, and even Daniel Rickman himself was not the source of it. So there you go. Understood pushback on recasting Carrie. We all seem to be hyped for Sebastian Stan Luke, right? And I've seen where what's her name from Stranger Things is fan casted as Leia with Sebastian Stan as Luke. It works. It absolutely works. Right. You can't pat their legacies. Yeah, that's exactly right. I know I don't comment much, but I thoroughly enjoy your group hangout. Thanks so much, Callisto. I appreciate it. It's a great fun with great people. Good. Thanks so much. That's a great comment. If Mark Hamill was dead, they'd be against recasting Luke. Yeah, true. The Rickman mods even said it was a rumor. That's true, Mark. So the mods in the group were clear to say if these rumors are true, right? So they weren't even endorsing it. The mods in Rickman's server weren't confirming the posts, the rumors. So yeah, Millie Bobby Brown. Yep, that's it. Yeah. RPK, right. I see lots of places that say they quoted Rickman. Daniel Rickman said, quote, so I went in and I found it wasn't Daniel Rickman at all that quoted that, unless I just can't find it, right? I've only been a member of the group now for 24 hours. So, you got to give me a little bit. I do believe that Jon Favreau could be upset with Lucasfilm. He was close friends with Gina and had big plans with Kara. Jason, I think that's fair. But it falls into the speculation part, not into the rumors part. And that's something I think as fans, we need to be a little bit more careful of. When we see people speculate something, or when I speculate something, I almost want to say speculate responsibly, folks. It can be fun. We can have a lot of fun speculating about what things might come or what things might be in the works or how things might happen. Let me give you another example how this works, right? So speculation in the Obi-Wan's Kenobi series, we were going to get flashback scenes with Anakin, played by the wooden boy. I just lost his name. Why can't I remember his name? You guys give and we've already been confirmed that Hayden Christensen. Hayden's going to be in Obi-Wan, right? So we'll get flashback scenes of Obi-Wan and Hayden. Now there's other rumors. We're going to get flashback scenes of Obi-Wan and Satine. We're going to get flashback scenes of Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this at this point? Or is it just Obi-Wan laying in his cave, napping, and having dreams of the past? Is that the whole show? We're just get flashback scenes of all of his past. No actual real stuff going on, right? So there's got to be a little bit of care given to, like, I would love to see live action, and I think a lot of people would love to see live action Obi-Wan and Anakin. Get Ewan McGregor and Hayden on screen together. Another one that I think is really cool was, what's the chances Again, it's complete speculation at this point, right? Please don't think that I'm quoting anything. I'm almost feel like doing Josh's thing where I live in a third floor basement. I have no sources. Oh no, 100% pure speculation. How cool would it be to see Hayden and Rosario Dawson as Anakin and Ahsoka in real life, having a duel of some sort, right? Some sort of confrontation with Hayden and Rosario, considering that they went to acting school together. They're really good friends with one another, and that they've got this long history. And then you get Anakin and Ahsoka, who were, Master and Padawan. How cool would that be? I would love to see them. And we know that both of them are cast. We know that both of them exist in the live action works that are happening right now. What's the chance that we could get Hayden and Rosario to act a scene in one of these shows, right? I live in North Pole in a third floor basement. There you go. I love that, Sheaf. Perfect. No. Yeah. Yeah, that is good. Any of it would be amazing, right? Just one or two could be good. I agree. Something more than just flashbacks, right? That's exactly right. The Obi-Wan show has to be something more than just flashbacks, right? And with Chillmonger, I'm worried too. I think a lot of us are worried about having Obi-Wan meet Vader before A New Hope, and that's why people say, "Well, we hope that it's a flashback scene. That way, it keeps continuity together." But we'll have to see how it all plays out. We're getting Obi-Wan versus Maul and Ventress, Dooku, Savage, Big Palpy. Yeah, I love all that. We see flashbacks of drunken Obi-Wan fights at the cantina. That's good. I love you guys. With the Death Stick boy, Anakin in the Ahsoka series. Right. Jason, how cool would that be? How cool would it be to get Hayden Christensen as a guest appearance in the Ahsoka series? Sign me up. I want it. Yeah. The first time I saw any kind of mention of that, I was like, oh, the possibilities. It's certainly not out there as a rumor. It's certainly not out there as any kind of leak. I think it's 100% speculation, which is what I wanted to talk about a little bit, right? We need to be able to distinguish, and that's what the Buckets of Coal segment is intended to help with as well, to highlight what things might just be out of control speculation that have spun out of control, and what things are just outright false lies made up and no truth. So we have our very first Buckets of Coal award given to the Favreau rumor, and we've given it 4 buckets. And so over time, this will mature. It'll get a little more behind it, and we'll be able to build it out. Dale, Obi-Wan did meet Vader before A New Hope. Well, sure. And there's some, I heard somebody put some context around it that could make it work, where they say, the comment is, when last we met, you were the master and I was but the learner, right? So it could still be another confrontation where even as Vader, he doesn't see himself as being the master, where he and Obi-Wan meet and have a duel, where Vader considers Obi-Wan the master and that he is not yet. I think it's a stretch, but hey, it could, I get it. So folks, here we go. If you can reach out to me, leave a comment here. If you're watching this, if you're interested, I'm available in Discord. Join our Discord community. It's in the description here. My email is also here. If you're interested in doing an intro for Buckets of Coal, please let me know. And you guys have a fantastic day. We'll probably see you again Thursday when a Magic Maker joins us, and we will continue our fans just enjoying talking about Star Wars, and we'll have a good time continuing our Muppet casting. We need to do Muppet casting this week for Rogue One. Rogue One will be our Muppet cast. So think about that. Join us on Discord. Join the discussion. And until then, folks, I hope you all have a fantastic day today. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye.